Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's Benefits of eDoc webinar, the latest in an ongoing series of educational webinars presented by WindowBook. My name is Wallace Vinglis, and I'm Vice President here at WindowBook. Joining me today is Steve Dowdy, WindowBook's Mailing Industry Software Specialist. Today's webinar will discuss the relationship between electronic documentation, otherwise known as eDoc, and the USPS Postal One system, the different ways to participate in eDoc, and the benefits of doing so. What are we doing here today? Well, we're going to take a look at eDoc and what it is. We're going to talk about the Postal One system. We're going to look at some of the benefits from using eDoc and Postal One. Talk about why you need to start using eDoc if you don't already. Some of the tools you'll need to process eDoc. Then we'll have a live demonstration. Steve Dowdy will do a live demonstration of submitting electronic documentation to Postal One. So let's go all the way back to 2006, the Postal Accountability Enhancement Act, or affectionately referred to as PAEA, which of course is not the Spanish rice dish, but this Postal Accountability and Enhancement Act. When this was passed back in 2006, a lot of mailers and the mailing industry were pretty happy because it forced changes on the Postal Service. In fact, it forced changes on them, how they operate and how they conduct business, particularly in the way of their transactions with their customers. And it also provided oversight from both the PRC and Congress. Then one of the big things was that it required the Postal Service to become SOX compliant by the end of fiscal year 2010, so last year. Becoming SOX compliant meant they had to adhere to the rules and stuff set forth in with the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. And for them to effectively do that, the Postal Service had to start requiring electronic documentation and electronic transactions. In doing so, they had to enforce that the mailers start presenting much more accurate data about their mail. And in doing that, enforcing that accuracy, they started the requirement of electronic documentation, no more handwritten or manually altered postage statements, all that out the window, eDoc. And you know, even though you may think, okay, so I still take a manual, I create a postage statement, I print it out, I bring it with me to the acceptance unit, and I hand that to the clerk. The clerk is just back there entering that information into Postal One. So you may be handing them a piece of paper. Technically, though, they shouldn't even be accepting it from you anymore at this point. But they are, in fact, keying that information themselves into the Postal One system. With the enforcement of electronic documentation, what that allows people to do is conduct their business online with the Postal Service. It virtually eliminates hard copies of all your mailing documents and requires a lot less manual labor in your operation and in the Postal Service operations. Now, I think there's a couple of myths out there right now, or maybe not myths, but certainly some misinformation. And one is not addressed on this slide. One is the fact that eDoc is not new. Excuse me. A lot of people think eDoc was created and came about as a result of the Postal Service implementing intelligent mail services within the last few years. But nothing could be further from accurate. eDoc's actually been around for many years, going back to as far as the early 90s when the Postal One system was first created and implemented by the Postal Service. It wasn't called Postal One way back then, but it still was there, an electronic service that allowed people to submit data files to them about their mailings and create electronic documentation.